Leadership. I was thinking like, what could I put as a name? We have the mindfulness, but I was saying, let me put as a name as heartfulness, because we hear a lot about mindfulness, and we have a meditation expert here. So, but the heartfulness is something different, and we don't talk it so much, not only at least in the business. So most of you know me. I think only for both of you don't know me, but
But didn't you do at Cameo?
yeah. You
Yeah.
were there. Yeah, I was there. Okay.
Yes. Then you say something you would do in there. So this must be the one.
Yes. So I stepped up for like regular free seminars. I talked to the library. They said that you're more than welcome. Again, I like speaking and so on. So Talks at Kamis was a good start. So I was doing this in Turkey over the last 8 years, more than 60 seminars. I do it for fun. I learn every time I do something. I like to share what I know, and I think this is the best way to together share and learn, because the world can only grow this way. So I joined Kamis 8 years ago. I'm here for the last 2 years. I was born and raised and graduated from the schools in Turkey. Again, as I said, just 2 years ago we just came here. So this is a new experience for me to do what I used to do in Turkey in English and so on. So I'm trying to learn. That's why these nice Toastmaster friends, they were helping me a lot. I would like to think a little bit about the best leaders of the world, of the ancient times and the modern times. I can only put very few names. Like from Japan, Hideyoshi is one of my good names that I can always think about. But there are a lot of names. This is Atatürk from Turkey, the founder of the Republic, Alexander the Great, Gandhi, and George Washington. They had something different in the way they led. They were outstanding, so they did something very different. And it wasn't only about the success. So the heartfulness and the heartful leadership, it includes a lot of things that we are going to talk about today. Before we move on, I would like to ask these 5 questions to you. I always ask these questions to people because I see that many people die without thinking about them. The first question is, are you happy? Just think about it, take a breath. Don't answer this yes immediately. I want you to answer with your heart, not with the mind.
Sometimes.
Okay. You don't have to tell, but think about it, because this is very important. We do a lot of things with instincts, and in the previous seminar we talked about the psychology of it. And I'm going to do that anyway one more time, so I think we didn't miss anything. This is the question: what makes you happy? I'm happy or not, but what makes me happy? What makes you happy? Have you ever thought about that? Is it the money, the marriage, the cars, the luxury, being a CEO, people touching your shoulder? You're a great man, woman, man, whatever. I think this is important because if you don't know this, people can use us a lot, and we don't know where we have to spend our time. So this is the question. For me, the most important question, especially for leadership, is what can we do to make others happy? I'm happy, I know what makes me happy, but if I'm happy, and if it is at the expense of others, and if I'm not in knowledge of knowing how to help others to be happy, or my actions are not helping others to be happy, then it's really selfish happens, in my balloon only. That's a big miss. As a leader, we don't have this luxury. Especially if someone is in the seat of the leader, this is very important. Because it's an important part of life. Not the main thing. Happiness is another theory. It's not the final thing. It's a byproduct, but it's very important. All these 3 questions tie up to something. Socrates used to say, know yourself, know thyself. And how much do you know yourself? How much do you know ourselves? As we discussed in the previous seminar, we have an identity and also false identity. We also want to project ourselves. So that's a projected image. Can we talk about our values immediately in few seconds? Can we talk about our pros and cons? How much do we know about ourselves? This is a golden question. For me, in leadership, in business, I think I learned this a little bit the hard way, but biggest question is, do you live to work or do you work to live? And if this doesn't really resonate with us, I think the biggest thing is that when you die, who will cry? And if something really bad happens, a lot of bodies don't show up. In many companies, also the companies don't show up. Companies like Cummins and so on, they have different approaches and so on, but in many parts of the corporate world, it's not the case. So we have to take care of ourselves. So knowing our priority is important. I was really leaving to work many times ago, and when I fell down, I was alone. I was just going to be a good leader in the whole of a company, that's it. And I think that's a pity. So for me, the work is, let's start from the cosmic principle. The work is, everything is interdependent, interrelated in this world, in the cosmos. So the work is just like, as I show here, it's a cooperation. Tesh has another job, I have another job, you have another job, at home, at work, but we help each other. It's not about dominating ourselves. The problem is usually people in leadership, they forget about the mission later on, especially in the government and so on, so they feel like they're ruling, but again, that's not aristocracy, or we are working for money, but work is really to help each other. And since the tribal times, since we cannot do things alone, we do expertise and sell to each other. None of us can be experts like 4,000, 5,000 years ago. It's about service for me. So the other, I think, taboo is that is work on about money. It is not indeed. I see four important parts that run our lives. We have a body, we have a mind, emotions, and spirit. So if this is the case, why shouldn't the work is? People say that emotions don't exist or shouldn't exist in life. I think that's wrong. Spirit, many people, they don't think about it. I think that's also wrong, because if I think the body is like the organization, the results, the execution, the rules, the code of conduct, the freedoms that we give to the people, a lot of things, you can just squeeze into that. But in the mind, then we start thinking about the right thing, leading, we talk about learning, sharing, and so on. But the thing that makes the difference is the emotional part. I mean, if you look at all these big leaders, they touch the emotions, the hearts of the people. So they touch their hearts. They were loyal, they were connected to the people, they came with a dream. I mean, look at what Gandhi did during the Satyagraha movement, right? I mean, that was unbelievable. I mean, look at what Hideyoshi, I mean, he fought, right? I mean, he combined the country of Japan without fighting. So he just used his power. So unbelievable leader they were. So they didn't do something different to them. There's a spirit in that, and companies, a lot of them, they have mission, vision, but the way we execute them with higher consciousness, I think that's a spirit in the company. So the spirit can happen. The reason I joined Cummins is because the company has a spirit. Many companies I work for, they were touching the emotions, but they didn't have a spirit. And there are a lot of corporate big giants without the spirit. So that's 21st century, and I think that's it. So the thing is, the leadership can make a big difference. Good companies, they end up with good employees, good suppliers, a better society, and a better world. Now, recently, a lot of people start to debate what's the meaning of the corporates. Because as we exceed the threshold of $1 billion companies, then they make huge profits, huge money. Then some of them, like Amazon alone, is bigger than Turkey. So we discussed about that. So the latter is the leadership. So being in the right place, right moment, but doing everything in the right way, I think that's important. Something that I learned over the last 5 years is that the KPIs are not enough. That's the fourth part. Even a good character is not enough to be successful as a leader. You have to have visibility, and you have to have people supporting you by the heart. And in many times they say the KPI is good enough, but it's not. Capitalism is saying this is the case, but in many good companies, or if you want to have a big impact in the communities, these other three we have to really strive for. We have to be successful there. In terms of the leadership style, I think there are a lot of ways to say, talk about it. I'm just going to show you that so that you can think about it. They talk about the behavioral situational approach. There are a lot of different ways of, like my father, I remember him like having the managerial grade in the booking instance, which became older, but now there are different mechanisms to explain it. But again, there are a lot of theories around that. Or like Coleman's 6 leadership styles, which or another from that, I don't remember the name for that, but that I just want to put it as a different way of doing that. Rather than 6, they come up with a different way of 8. But the thing that I want to talk is the democratic, transactional, authoritarian, and the laissez-faire. These 4 are the ones that we see more and more. This is like you let the people, they do whatever they want. Or authoritarian, you just rule them. It doesn't work. The democratic, we make decisions together. In some countries, you make decisions forever. Or you just reconvene for transactions or task bases, and then it's just like a project team. So there are different ways of that. But the 5th element, which is an evolution of that, it talks about a transformation. So that's a process where you're a leader in the lives of the others, but you help the people transform from a caterpillar to a butterfly. So you are the transformation agent. You also change yourself. So as a leader, you are a catalyst, but you as a catalyst is also changing. And that's why I wanted to show, I think this makes a little more sense. But there's another style that I want to talk at the end after showing you a few more other things. So in this 4, the way they explain it, people-based and task-based. Or let's say, you are more task-oriented but less people-oriented, that's autocracy. Or you can have more people emphasis but less task emphasis, then that becomes like a transformational. I think these kind of models, they don't always say the 100% truth, but the thing is like they make a good explanation, a high likelihood of what our leadership style is. As long as we can see where we are in this map, we can understand our models, and the good thing is we can learn from it to do better. Or if you have to change our style in different conditions, we can also adapt, because there's not only one truth. Sometimes you go to another country, you have to act differently. Or I spent 12 years in startups. In the first times, you don't have time to be sometimes democratic. I mean, you discuss, but sometimes you have to make decisions, and then if they are wrong, then you change them, because you get 500 mails every day, you work. They have something for that.
Or maybe enlightened wisdom. Wisdom is the right word.
As I talked about this previously, I think our IQs or EQs, intellectual quotient, emotional quotient, is really not enough in this world. With this complexity, and it's increasing, the reason I showed all these things happening, the economical trends, social trends, technological trends, it's increasing more than ever. And to be honest, we are not trained for all this complexity, and it's becoming more and more complex. So we need this true wisdom, true leadership, and it requires a lot of heart set. And I always talk about this. It's a time that we need to have more SQ, the spiritual quotient. And I would like to tell you why it is important. Think about your IQ. You can be very clever, 1 out of 10, but in an area of 10 to 10, 100, even with the highest IQ, you can cover only 10. But if you get a little bit of EQ, as I copied, I think I just lost the thing. 5 out of 5, you can cover more than IQ enough. And if you think that you can have the element of SQ there, you can cover much more. So a lot of the times we were taught to be more diligent, more workaholic, and even at the schools. I mean, the IQ can rise up to a level, but we can do a lot of stuff on the EQ, and also SQ, the spiritual quotient, could be learned. And then these are the things that make a difference. And by making a difference there, we can have an exponential difference. I think that's a lot of people, this is the thing that a lot of people miss in the modern world. because life is so much about the materialistic. I mean, as I said, we have the riches of the past just in front of our rooms now. I mean, we can even get a reduction on the Black Fridays and so on, but the thing is like as we become more falling into the material world, the thing is like we are losing our spirituality. That's why it is very important. There is an organization called HeartMath in California. They did an analysis. The magnetic area of the heart, they measured it, is 5,000 times more than the mind. That's a very interesting organization. I really advise that you take a look at that. Very interesting organization. I even have to take more. And again, this says that I think the mind is not true. The heart makes a big difference. So in the ancient wisdom teachings, that's why I think they talk about this heart set. That's very, very important. Again, all of us love. But again, the first 5 questions, are you happy? What makes you happy? How can you make the others happy? Is something beyond the mind. And that's where I want to connect the dots now with the leadership. I think leadership without a heart is really lacking. As I showed, captured, tortured, and then became another politician man. But one thing that he says true, he says that success or results is about skills and working on your virtues with effort. He's saying that don't wait for the train of luck to come to you. It will come only if you work. So it's about preparing ourselves to be a leader. It's about preparing our people. But again, it's not going to be easy. So it requires a lot of compassion, because many people will say, you put the rules or you just put the discipline. It's not about that. So we want the people to follow us, not because we say, and they do because of the authority we have. But I think the thing is, I showed you the pictures of some leaders. They were all followed, not because of the things that they wanted. Some of them, they didn't have even the seat or the coercive power. People followed them because they felt they are doing the right thing. They just followed them by heart. That's it. They were connected. That's what we need in the leadership roles. And again, some of the people who are here, they are leaders. Some of them are to be leaders. I think the thing is, the moment that we think that people will follow us because we ask them to do, is the moment that we fail. They're not going to do that. They're going to do that maybe because they fear. And when you leave, they're not going to do it. Or when you leave your role, they're not going to do it. So that's not real success. My father always said me that your success he was a mid-level manager in a German company. He always said that your success will be visible when you leave your role. And I didn't understand this for some time. Because he says that after you leave, if things fail, you're not successful, no matter what your KPIs are. And I think he's true. That's about legacy. So I try to portray a few things from the history, from the modern world. But my message from my point of view, the reason I talk about the heartful meditation, the leadership is, it's all about compassion, I think. You have to be strong mentally, you have to have the vision, you have to have the skill set, you have to have the mindset, that's for sure. But if it is not followed up by the heart set, it's not going to be true leadership. Remember what Peter Drucker said, doing the right thing, not doing the things right. Yes, we have to do the things right, that's given. But doing the right thing is a different thing. That's why Gandhi stepped up many years ago. That's why Atatürk stepped up. He could have lived a very easy life. And by the way, he was given a lot of things from the enemies. He didn't do that. He just turned them down. The same goes with Washington. The same goes with a lot of other big leaders in the world. So they sacrificed. And without vision, mission, the values, and the compassion, without the heart, it wouldn't be there. And they touched the lives of them. They changed the world because they touched the hearts of the people. So the message is the heart, the heart, the heart. So nothing is hard without nothing is hard with the heart, I think. So thanks you for listening to me. That's what I wanted to share today. I hope that we can have a better work with a true leadership. And I think if everyone in this room can do their best without having the leadership role, or with the leadership role, if we can act truly in our life, first to ourselves and to the others, and act with a higher self, I think that's good enough to change the world, because it's a butterfly effect. The effect. It is going to definitely impact. You're going to have children in fast. Even if they get it, who knows? Maybe your children is going to want someone that's going to change the world. My children or your children. So who knows what will happen? We don't know what our influences are going to impact in the world or the universe. So the best thing we can do is to do our best. And again, if you have to act heartfully, there is no mistakes.